Welcome to the 97th video in our series about Unix tools. In this video, we'll take a short break from Git and look at compiling a Pascal program. For this to work, your system administrator needs to install the free Pascal compiler for you. You may think it's silly looking at such an old language, but it's not. Many very good books on programming were written using Pascal as the implementation language, since it was designed for teaching structured programming. Unlike C, it lets you do almost anything, since it was designed as a portable assembler to write operating systems, Pascal is rather strict. It supports user-defined types, dynamic memory, reasonable variable names, and many other things that its predecessor, BASIC, lacked. Pascal isn't actually dead, and its spirit lives on in Delphi, one of its descendants that added object-oriented programming support. So if you've got one of those old textbooks and you're working through it, you can get many for free from archive.org, and you're trying to learn something like how to implement AVL trees or B trees or some other algorithm, quick sort, merge sort, and you want to learn how to program, there are many books that use Pascal as the sample language, and you want to be able to compile those. And you don't want to have to try to find, a 40-year-old MS-DOS machine from the 80s. That's going to be tough. So, let's see what you need to do. Like I said, somebody needs to install a free Pascal compiler for you. If you're managing your own machine, you need something like apt-get install fpc, something like that. Okay. You can see I've got some scripts, and somehow I have nuked my source code. That's okay, I can rewrite it. So let's type in some old-fashioned Pascal, and we'll try to mimic the program we did in Fortran some time ago. So we're going to have a program, needs a name, and then at least we need to have begin and end. And of course in there we're going to want to output our message. And I believe in our Fortran programs we had a variable I and we wanted to output that. So we need to make sure we duplicate that. And I think it was set to the value of 10. Something like that ought to get the job done. So, if you've downloaded or cut and pasted, or if you're like me and you typed it in, you've got your program and you say, wow, how do I run this thing? And so we can do an fpc hello.pass, and you say, oh no, I can't find it. I've got all this problem, println, I don't know what it is. And so it's easy to get discouraged, but don't let that happen to you. You just have to do a quick search on the internet, which I can't really show in this video because we're trapped to this screen, but look for a Pascal Hello World program, and there are many of them out there, and you're going to look at that and you're going to say write-ln, not println. Okay, that shows you how bad my memory is. So there we go. If we use the right commands, it's going to work. Can we run it? Yes, we can. And we got a hello world and a 10. You know, it's not too beautiful, but it worked. We'd kind of like some space in here maybe. And so if you look at that and you say, man, I don't know how to get any space in there. How am I going to get some space in there? Well, you could cheat a little bit. And there you go. We've pretty much duplicated our Fortran output. And you saw it's pretty easy to do. There's no separate link step. The free Pascal compiler has an internal linker, so normally you don't need to do that. But I know you. You're suspicious, and you should be. You're thinking, it can't be that easy. Everything on Unix has a million command line options. And you're right. Let's try it. FPC and ask for some help. Oh yeah, there's a lot. And you notice that it showed all the help and scrolled off the screen. If you do a minus question mark, which is specific to this command, it'll do it a screen at a time. So let's count those screens. 1, right? It says press enter. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 pages. 14 pages of options. So don't you worry. There are plenty of options we can set. And you might ask yourself, well, it's overwhelming. There are too many options. I don't know what to do. I've set up a file for us and commented on what the options are. And you can see the incredibly ugly looking compile line here at the bottom. But we've set for highest safe optimization level. There's a level 4, but they warn you it's unstable. We want that pick code that we always do, minus F pick when we're doing C. We'd like to use vector instructions. Of course, it's kind of silly for a program that doesn't do any math, but I want to show you all the options that you would normally use. You can strip the executable to make it a little bit smaller. You're going to ask for static linking. It turns out on the Ubuntu system, you always get static linking, whether you ask for it or not. You can ask for the external linker. You can ask for the internal, either one. Our target is Linux. And I've targeted the ISO dialect, 7185. That's the simplest old school Pascal that's used in a lot of textbooks. If you have a specific textbook for Turbo Pascal, they have other dialects that you should use, and we'll look at that in a minute. But basically, I've turned on 64-bit floating point. I've told it that I've got a modern desktop CPU. I've set the heap to the max value. I've turned on runtime I/O, integer overflow, range checking, constant IEEE error checking, everything I could, for safety. I've told it this CPU has AVX2. If you've got something older, you might want to set it for SSE42. And then minus VA, wait till you see it. Maximum verbosity with all warnings telling you everything it's doing. So if we want to run this, we can do a buildit.sh. Boom, look at that. Just miles of stuff. It takes a while to scroll back that far. Where did we start? Here. And so it lists all the options. It tells you what macros were turned on or off. It goes through all this stuff, telling you what it's doing, where it's looking for files. And it's telling you, I'm looking in FBC 322, and I'm using these libraries. And then it's saying, I don't have all these includes, but I have these defines. Just more than we really wanted to know. But I wanted to show you everything could be shown. Some people ask, what's the real link command? Since we chose an external linker, you can see that they tell you the link command right here. And you notice it doesn't use libc. They've got their own IO library, which is why they can do all their checking. And if we run that, it works fine. In real life, you would normally not want this VA. That's just too much information. So if we delete that and we build it again, you see we get reasonable amount of output. And that's all there is to compiling your Pascal if it's in one file. If it's in several files, you'll have to work a little harder. www.freepascal.org, I think. So let's see if we can get to it. Yeah. So this is the website. Of course, it'll look more beautiful in your Chromium or Firefox or Edge, but they're set up for people that have old machines, so that even their text mode web page is usable. And they tell you it's a mature, versatile, open source Pascal compiler. It can look at all these different kinds of CPUs it can do, you know, and it works. You can generate Windows, you can generate DOS, you can generate what do they call it today? They keep changing the name every year. I think it's like Mac OS now or something. But, you know, they could do it for the Mac. They could do it for Android. They can do it for HiQ. OS 2 even. So if you've got a computer and it's not a toy, you can probably get free Pascal for it. So that's the good news. The last thing I want to show you is how you can get that dialect information, which, yeah, there we go. So if we look for Turbo Pascal, we might not find it, but remember we did ISO, so we can look for that. And I'm looking. I'm not, this is not less, so we can't do it that way. Look for the minus M's. Yeah, here we go. So minus MTP would let you run Turbo Pascal up to version 7. Okay, if you're and we used this one, which is the old style. There was a later standard, but not many books used it. The 10206 ISO, which was extended, and you can compile actual Delphi code with this thing. Delphi is the modern form of Pascal that still lives on today, and Free Pascal has their own, sort of like GCC has the standard equal GNU that turns on all kind of extra options. If you do minus M FPC or you don't specify minus M, you get the Free Pascal dialect, which sort of mixes together the best of all these according to the Free Pascal developers. And if you need Delphi, but you need the old Delphi, this will give you Delphi 7. That's not the Delphi Unicode. So there it is. You should be able to compile any reasonable Pascal program with this tool. It's not hard. I use the same style we did with the Fortran 4, where I used shell scripts. You don't really need to use make when you're doing something this simple. I want to thank you for listening. Come back next time and we'll do something different. So long.